This is one of the most insane chess puzzles ever created in 1933 by Mark Liburkin. White is up 6 pawns and a knight in this position, but black is threatening to win the game in one move. For example, we queen, black queens, and this is actually checkmate. So white must stop this pawn at any cost, but it's really difficult because the king isn't stuck in the corner, and there's no real way for us to control this square. So white must look for checks to change the position somehow. The first move for white is knight e4, check, hoping to dislodge the king away so white can play king b2 and catch the pawn. But black plays king d3, the most difficult defense, keeping an eye on the pawn. If white plays king b2, this is insufficient because bishop e5 check turns the tables. Black will force a breakthrough because after king c1, bishop f4 check, black queens and wins the game. So white cannot just play king b2 to save the game. Instead, white must use the drawback of black's last move, and this is going to be the theme of the puzzle. King d3 exposes black to another check. Knight c5. This allows white to rotate the knight after king c3 to b3, temporarily stopping black from making a queen, and it looks like white's gonna win at any moment. But black uncorks the devilish bishop e5, letting white do whatever they want. But if we just queen here, black checkmates white in 2 moves. On c1, promotion, sacrificing the queen, and after knight takes queen, king c2 is discovered. Checkmate. Uh-oh. So we can't allow c1 queen to happen. What can we possibly do? The only way for white to defend this is by deflecting black's deadly bishop. So white's first move in this position, in the sequence, is f4. Okay, if the bishop deflects from the diagonal, white has time to queen and check the king. Black knows this and has to decide where the bishop would move. If they go to h8, white can make a queen and then attack the bishop. So black cleverly plays bishop g7. But every move that black plays has a drawback, and can you see the real one here? Instead of making a queen and letting black checkmate, white makes a knight, attacking the bishop. Black only has 1 square, which seems to be enough. Bishop h8. Now black is ready to checkmate white again, but white stops that with the f-pawn. That's why we played f4 in the first place. White can go f5, and now f6 would block the check. But black escapes the trapdoor before it closes and plays bishop e5, recreating the same threat. But now white plays bishop to h2. This bishop is running out of squares. They can't go anywhere without being blocked or taken. So black accepts the sacrifice and hopes to go back to e5 to recreate the same deadly checkmate. Unfortunately for white, this knight is so far away from controlling the square, and this knight and this king is stuck. So they can only move pawns. Which one of these pawns can potentially still distract the bishop? It's the b pawn. So white plays b7, black goes b5. Now, you probably thought it's b8 queen, but it's actually wrong because black can play king c4, sacrificing the bishop, and then sacrifice their last piece for a surprise stalemate. So to avoid that, the only way to deflect the bishop and try to win is to underpromote to a bishop this time. Amazing. So black takes the bishop and still wants to come back. But how can white stop this? I wish I could play e7, e8. So the next move for white is to gain a tempo by sacrificing the knight blockade. Black takes and white goes e7. Black recreates the threat because after white queens, Black can still sacrifice the bishop one more time and make another stalemate. Last time we made a bishop, but this time we make a rook. The only move that wins. Black can only go to f6 or g7, but either way Black loses. After bishop f6, White goes rook e6, keeping the attack on the bishop. And after bishop g7, finally White closes the gate and plays f6. After underpromoting to a knight, bishop, and rook, White finally wins the game.